Welcome everybody, my name's Scott Hebbard from Sparx Systems, and today we're looking at our urban parking system repository once again. And we're going to finish off our activity diagram series, and this time we're going to be looking at expert activity diagrams. Now, we encourage you to go back and look at previous videos in the sequence, including introduction, intermediate and advanced, where we've built upon activity diagrams. We've shown you how to create them from scratch, and now we're going to look at some expert level topics. I'm joined today by our resident UML expert, Stephen Maguire. Welcome, Stephen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Scott, and thank you for the introduction, and I'm delighted to be here talking about activity diagrams again. So let's get started. As always, I like to set my perspective, and that's available from the top right-hand part of the application. Remember, this focuses you on the things of interest that you're working on. We're going to be working on behavioural models. I've got wireframes selected up there because earlier today I was doing some wireframe modelling of some mobile applications. And I want to set it now to UML, and we'll go into the behavioural perspective. So with that set, you can see the Enterprise Architect brings up the builder page, and we've got a number of different patterns here in the model builder, some of which apply to activities, others to the other UML diagrams. We looked at a number of these before, Scott: interruptible activity regions, expansion, exceptions, central buffers, data stores, pins, and so forth. But I like to do things from first principles. So let's close the builder page, but I encourage you to use this to your own advantage. It gives you a very quick jump start on your modeling. You can inject any model here, not just for activity diagrams, not just for UML, but there are thousands of patterns in here related to all sorts of different things that the tool can model, right from strategic modeling right down to the nuts and bolts in a programming code or database model or something like that. You can do it by simply clicking the Create Model button. Let's close that now and get started. So we have a navigation diagram on the screen here. Let's click through on behavioural models. We've seen how this works before. Go to our activity model. This is one that we created for a book parking session here. A number of different elements on here. We've got actions and swim lanes, or partitions as they're called, interruptible regions, all sorts of different things. We're going to take a different tack now, Scott, because actually more formally, while this is a very useful way to be modeling, if you wanted to be completely rigorous about this topic, and certainly people that use activity diagrams very extensively will understand and appreciate this way of doing things, but it is completely permissible and completely correct to be modeling the way that we've shown in the earlier videos. But this isn't an expert video, so let's go into our behavioural models there. We're going to look in here, and we've got under here activity models, detail vehicle, and make parking reservation. We're now going to create another one that's called process parking fines. So not everyone's favourite topic, but be interesting to see how it works. So we're going to create a new node there, simply new package icon there, and we'll call it process parking fines. And what we're going to do as well is that we'll leave that where it is, and we'll drag an activity from the toolbox directly onto that node. So we're not going through a diagram, we're just going to drop that on to that node there, and we'll call it the same as that one. So use my F2 key, and we'll put that one in there as process parking fines. So with that activity there, what I want to do now is I do want to create a diagram, but I wanted to create it underneath this node. So I'll say new diagram. Because I've got the behavioural perspective, UML behavioural selected, it's the only option there. So that's one of the advantages of using the perspectives. You don't get any of the, I guess, the clutter of all of the other available options in Enterprise Architect. You focus right in onto the thing that you're doing. And we've got activity diagrams selected there. Let's do that. And let's put that on there. So now let's drag our activity onto that diagram, and let's put it on as an activity. So we'll call it a link, and there it is. I'm going to make that just a little bit smaller there, and a little bit narrower, and maybe that sort of size. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a number of other activities onto this diagram. So I'm just going to move one of these video windows out of the way, and let's say this whole thing starts by an activity that's called this one here. We'll drop this activity onto the diagram here, and we'll call it detect violation. Yep. So again, as always, Scott, I like to put in notes under all these elements. So let's do that, and back my cursor onto this one here and put some notes in there. Now, I'm going to put another one in here called issue fine. So I'll do that one, and so we're just going to sort of be moving along here a little bit on our story. It's like a narrative or a story that we're creating. So drop another one in here, and we'll call it issue fine.
Yep.
And let's put some notes in for that. And we need to connect these up in a way, because these detect violation and issue fine are actually part of this parking process fines. So first of all, I'll just make them the same size. I just like to get that out of the way. Oops, wrong way. I needed to have this one selected first as a template. And let's just get these two guys here and align them up. Now, what connector am I going to use? Well, the curious thing is, Scott, that on this toolbox, and I'm going to collapse some of these, in the activity relationships, none of these elements are what I want. I don't want a control flow, I don't want an object flow, and I don't want an interrupt flow. So what do I want to use? I want to use a class relationship of compose. Now, that's available there because I had set my toolbox visibility to look at these things. So in here, I've gone into UML, and I've gone into structural there, and I've selected some of those things to be in the toolbox. So let's just use this compose, and I drag from the I have those multi-selected. You can't put something in when they're multi-selected. Put a relationship in. So let's put that one in, and let's compose that one as well. And that's what we're going to be doing, Scott. We're going to be moving along here, but the activity is composed of other activities. Now that might seem a little strange to you at first, but you'll start to get the picture of it, that these elements, this activity, is actually a classifier. So it behaves, in UML terms, it behaves like a class. And if you know anything about class diagrams, you can use the composition or the aggregation relationship between those. So that's why we're doing it, because we want to actually, it's a structural diagram now. So we could actually do this on a class diagram as well. If you felt more comfortable, you could drop these onto a class diagram. That might be something that people want to do. So I could actually, go and change the diagram type on this. So if I went into my, design thing, into my diagrams here, and look at the options, change type, it's of no consequence really at all. I can say it's a class diagram there, and nothing actually changes. But what you do is you get these, you get these palettes coming up there for the class. But now we've lost the activity one, and so I can have those pinned at the same time. So what we're going to do now, Scott, is we're going to move that along, because there are another number of other things that we need to do. We need to detect the violation, issue the fine, notify the offender, process the payment, and enforce non-payments. And so they will continue as other activities along here. But what we want to do is we want to look at this detect violation one in more detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to select that element there, and we're going to right mouse click there and say new child diagram. So this is going to add another diagram underneath detect violation. So we're going down as part of a hierarchy, if you like. We're going down into more details. I'm going to say composite structure diagram there as well. So I'll say that, and you can see now it's put a little icon onto that one there, and I'm going to click through on that. And now if you look in the project browser, you can see that we've got this sort of nesting thing happening. What I'm going to do is select the detect violation activity and put it onto this diagram, not as an invocation. That's its kind of default behavior. That's what someone might think you want to do, but we actually want to do this in a structural way. Again, I'll just make this a bit smaller. And now we're going to add a whole lot of activities at this level as well. So this one, this detect violation, is composed of other activities. So let's put those in, and we'll add a few notes. I just want to keep reiterating to people the importance of putting notes in. So I do that as part of the videos. The complete model, every element, every package, every diagram has got notes in it. So scan vehicle registration. And now let's have a look at another one. We're going to put in another activity here, and this one's called check session status. So what's going on is that, are they actually in violation or in breach or not? And we'll put the notes in there. My cursor back over here too quickly. And so let's drop a couple more of these on here just to show you that the actual pattern, and then we'll finish this diagram off. So again, another activity, and we'll drop that one on there, and then one more activity, and we'll drop that one on there. And this is the bit that really puts you in trouble, because the parking inspector is going to capture some evidence, probably by photos or whatnot. So I'll just put some notes into that, because I think that's kind of an interesting one. I've been in that situation, Scott, where I was absolutely sure that I was correctly parked, and the photo came back with the nose of my car about, I don't know, third of a metre, about a foot in the imperial system, beyond the line marking. So that's there, and lo and behold, let's just use our layout ribbon, and let's just lay these out. Let's make same size. Again, select all these guys here, same height, across there. Now look what happens when I do this one. You can see that now it's giving me perfect representation of this one being right in the middle there. And lo and behold, we're going to use our compose relationship. A trick that we've talked about in earlier videos, Scott, is using the F3 key. If you hit the F3 key after that, that's going to use the same connector. You don't need to select the connector type. That's there. Just to show people as well, the line styles, the great variety of line styles we've got available here. Fantastic part of the tool. Let's go line style, tree style, horizontal. And actually, I should have gone vertical there. My mistake. Tree style vertical. And then let's put all the other connectors into the same shape. So apply line style. So I select one of the connectors, apply line style, connector to the same type. And we've got our diagram that's finished. So let's just move back up this. The little arrow key there on the diagram tab takes me back to where I came from, which was this. Remember, Scott, we're going to continue this. Story along here, because remember that we had issue find, but let's just put another one in so that people remember what we're doing. We need to go back to our activity palette. So change perspective into UML behavioral and choose activity there. And let's put that another activity on there. And we're going to call this by offender, I think. So notify offender, and again, we'll make those the same size, or just very, simple things. Multi-select them, choose that, line them up there. And again, we just use our connector from our class toolbox, and we're going to continue that story along, as I said. So what I'm going to get you to do, Scott, I'm going to get you to perform some of your time travel magic. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for that little bit of time travel. Well, here we are back again, and you can see that we've completed some of the diagram in that time travel time. So we have got a process parking fine, and it's composed of a number of different activities. And remember, we can drill down on these as we showed, drill down on that one, use the little arrow to come back again, and we can see the rest of this story. Now this is where it becomes interesting, and this is where the expert part of this topic comes in, because this was really just a composition idea. Here we're going to go down to our issue find activity here, and we've got a number of these ones here: generate file, calculate file amount, all different activities that are contained in there. So let's, what we're going to do now, Scott, is we're going to create a new diagram. And what I'm going to do is select issue find there, and I'll create a new diagram. But before we do that, what we want to do is use something that's called an activity parameter. So we can add these to activities, and they have a kind of an equivalent node for an action, which is called a pin, and we'll see the connection between the two of them in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an activity parameter to this create find record. It's the last one in the sequence, but I'm going to show you what goes on. It enters there, and let's put in violation details there. So we're just giving that a name, and it's an integer there, Scott. And if we look at that, we can go into the parameters there and set it as something else. It's not really an integer. Let's just say, you know, a string for the moment. You don't actually have to put anything in there, but let's put that in. And let's add another one to the other side. So these are going to become what we call interaction or connection points. And you can see when I go down here, that violation detail has been entered into the panel that's called interaction points for the activity itself. So with the activity selected, they're the interaction points. And if I select the parameter, then you know it's no longer an interaction point because itself is that. So let's drag another activity parameter, and let's drop it onto there. Comes up with a default name. Let's go back to that and call it fine. And let's call that, we don't want it to be an integer again. We can select our parameters there, and let's just go none there for the moment. And you can see that that comes up under there. So, you know, we've got the opportunity to just restructuring those. So what I've done, Scott, is I actually, in that time travel, I had a little bit of extra time that I wasn't aware of. So I actually did a little bit of this work. And you can see that now if I select the issue find, down in the interaction points, I already added some activity parameters. So I'm just going to select those and turn them on. And let's go violation. So we'll put those around that side and around that side. You can see some of them have got parameters and some haven't. I'm going to select that as being none this time as well. And we've got the same thing here as well, find and violation. So let's go find number over there, and the violation is over there. So a little bit of you know, a little bit of mechanical work here, Scott, but not you know, it doesn't take much time at all. And that's the find number there coming in. And let's just make a little bit more room here, shall we? Let's just move this guy over a little bit, and let's just use some of the EA's magic to select them all and say space evenly across. That gives us a bit more space. Let's just use this one here to that, and we've got our parameters. One more to do, quite simple. Again, same thing, and we'll select those, and we've got our, it's not that line, I want this one here. That's the amount, and that's the violation details. And so we've got these parameters, Scott. So they're things that are coming into the activity, information that's coming in. So you know, think about it as like, you know, at an object level, that data's coming into this. So with that done, what I'm going to do now is this gets to really to the expert part of this, is we're going to create a new diagram. So we will just create it over here in the browser, and we'll say under issue find, we'll say create new diagram, and it's going to be an activity diagram, and issue find, and we'll put in here details like that, right? So say create that diagram. Now we've got a blank diagram. We've got a lot of our work that we've done, and so what we want to do is drag the issue find activity, and we're going to drop it on as a link there, and we're going to say okay to that. And I'll show you a trick in a minute that we didn't do on that particular one, but we can do on the others first. So I'll just create this a little bit bigger. Now, if you remember, Scott, from our other diagram, this issue finds has got some parameters on it, and some interaction points. So we can put those on as well. And there's our violation. there's our fine. We'll just, I might just drag this over. We'll need to make it a bit bigger a little bit later, but let's just do that for the moment so we're not running out of space there. And probably I don't really need my toolbox anymore, so I'll give myself a little bit more space there. And let's work with this. So now the interesting thing is what we're going to do now is we're going to reuse the activities that we already had. So the first one of this was generate find number. What we're going to do is we're going to drag that on and we're going to drop it as an invocation or an action. And this time it says structural elements select, and I'm going to say, yeah, all of them, thanks. And you can see now that that's put that action on there. So this is now an action. I think I did that as an action. You can see that it's an action over in the properties window. Let's just do another one, calculate find information. So let's put that one on as well. And again, same deal, calculate find information, invocation action, and I'll select all again now as well on this one. And let's just make these the same size, and we maybe put the same height and width there, and we'll maybe make them a little bit smaller like that. So what I'm going to do, Scott, now is I'm going to move these guys here to slightly different locations. Now this is very significant and it's important. So this amount one is going to go over there, and this is the generate find number. Yeah. So
I feel like you're going to connect them up like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Scott. But this is where it's important to understand what's going on here. And a lot of people will make this mistake. Between this violation parameter and the generate find number, we need an object flow, right? Because, and let's see what EA gives us in the quick linker. There's object flow. So we're getting some information from something on the, something that's being passed in. And and then this thing here is generating a find number. So this pin here, which is an output pin, is actually giving us, allowing us to connect to this other find number here, which is the input pin to the calculate find amount. So we are going to join them up. But before we do that, the main thing that you need to realize is that some people will just join them up with object flows. While it seems to be a vernacular that people use, it's not the right thing to do. You need to be joining these up with the control flow. So the control flow is telling you the sequence by which these things will be called, right? The fact that information is being passed between them is an important thing, but it's not as critical as understanding that that this is the sequence that they're occurring in. So let's join these guys up, and we should want an object flow again. Let's use a little bit of our easy to do bending of our lines. I'm just holding the control key down there now and doing that. Now you can see now that this the sequence is going generate file number, calculate find amount, and the object, the pins and the object flows and the information that's flowing down them is an independent thing to the control, right? So the control is there. So an important thing, and people make mistakes with these type of processes. An example is in the finance world where people say, oh, there's an invoice, send an invoice, so this thing's going to get the payment from the customer. Well, if the customer doesn't pay you, you're going to be waiting there forever. You need to say, hey, there's a sequence here, and if they don't pay, then this is what we need to do. We need to, send out a reminder or something. But if you just waited until the payment came in as an object, then you might be waiting forever. So, we continue our thing along here. We go record violation details. Again, I can put that one in there, and I'm going to say record that. This time I won't select it, and I'll show you what happens. Record violation details. So I won't select the structural elements. It's better too, but you'll see that goes in there now. And again, I'm going to join that up with my friend, the control flow. And now I don't have any pins on that, but you can see down here that we've got underneath the interaction points, we've got those ones there. So those pins have come in, and again, I'm going to put those underneath, and amount is going to be there. And so I can continue that along, Scott, and just finish that. I don't think we did create those ones on the create find record. So let's just do that quickly. Put those ones in, and we'll select all there, and we'll make that the same size as that one. Width, find it there, and we've got again these connectors. We need to make a little bit more room here, so let's do that and move the whole thing along a little bit. That's the find coming out there. We've got our information there, and again we'll drag these guys away a bit, and we're going to connect this one up with a sequence flow as well, control flow, and then the object connector is going to be to this one here.
Yeah.
And again, we'll just, I'll leave that to the reader to finish. We're just going to connect all these up with object flows, allowing the information to flow through there. But the important point, Scott, is that this is all being driven by sequence, by control flows, and the object data that's coming in is just, it's required and important, but it's not what's driving the sequence of them.
Yeah.
They couldn't complete their work without having that information for sure. Each one of these activities couldn't do that, but let's just make them all the same size and just so that's it for this expert video, and you can see how much richer in a way this is, because what we're doing is we're showing the data in a structural one first. So we've got our structural elements, and these are the activities, and there's a structural thing saying we've got something coming in, we've got something going out, and we can look at those parameters there, and we'd have to set this one's coming in and this one's going out. So we've got
there,
and we've got the type. We can say we've got we can say that thing is a string there. We can put the type. Of course, we can create our own types. We can create a find type, and we can go and select that. So if we wanted to instead of string, we can say select type, and we can hunt through the repository looking for a find. So we can search for that and apply that type to that parameter. But then, of course, we reuse those parameters, and they become action pins on the actions that we've put into this diagram. So a very rich semantics that's provided by the UML, and we've covered most of these things. I think in here we didn't do structured activities. I'll leave the reader to go and look at that a little bit. We've covered a lot of these, all the different elements as part of both first of all, the introduction, the intermediate, the advanced, and now the expert. So, as always, Scott, the purpose of diagrams is largely about communication. It can be about analysis. It can be about research. But fundamentally, you need to think about why you're creating the diagram, who the audience is, and what style of diagram. All the ones that we've done, right up from those those lower level ones, or the simplistic ones that we did, like this one, that all have their purpose. And so I need you as an audience to think about, what the purpose of the diagram is and who the audience is, and to draw a diagram that's appropriate. Show them the diagram and get their feedback, and adjust it if need be. Maybe it's too detailed. Maybe it's not detailed enough. Maybe they want to see something about the interruptions and the exceptions that can happen. Maybe they don't. So, and of course, you can hide these on a diagram if you want to. You don't have to display that element. You can just choose to hide it. So anyway, that is the covers all of the work that we're going to be doing on UML activity diagrams, and I hope you can see how powerful they are.
Thanks, Stephen. Yes, I certainly can. And when you follow all of the individual videos and put them together, it tells a very compelling story about how you can, model activities and actions, and have them all built in Enterprise Architect to help communicate that to your audience. So it's been really valuable. To our audience, thank you very much for watching. We encourage you to look at all the videos on Sparx Systems YouTube channel. If you have any training inquiries about activity diagrams or UML in general, you can reach out to Stephen Maguire via his LinkedIn details, or via the Sparx Services website that's listed in the video credentials below. As always, thank you very much for your time. It's been great to learn so much about activity diagrams, Stephen, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Always a pleasure, Scott.